morning, my YouTube friends and family. Hope everyone's doing well. Another video coming from the car because, well, I'm not really doing them out of the truck that I don't own. So this particular video is regarding DOT officers that are waking drivers up. They are in their sleeper berth, letting an elderly gentleman pass there. So they are in their sleeper berth, either in sleeper berth status or they are off-duty status. And apparently in some states, DOT officers or commercial vehicle enforcement officers, however you want to call them, they are waking drivers up at truck stops to initiate an inspection. And so there's a few points of contention there, and we can argue this a few different ways, and we want to be careful about it because they do have the right to, without probable cause, pull us over in the commercial vehicle. That is a given when you decide you're going to be a operator of a commercial motor vehicle. You do give up the right that some people are always arguing, well, you're violating my constitutional rights by pulling me over without probable cause. They don't need probable cause in a commercial motor vehicle, guys. So they can pull you over for absolutely no reason other than your truck number 9 out of 10 that they counted, and that's just whatever criteria they use. They can at random just pull you over just because you're in a commercial motor vehicle. They don't need an excuse, they don't need a reason, they don't need anything other than they want to inspect you. And that's just the way it is. Very different from when you're in a private non-commercial vehicle. And so let's not confuse those 2 points. So what we're talking about though is trucks that are pulled over and otherwise, the driver is asleep and or off duty, doing off duty type things, in the truck stop doing laundry, getting dinner, whatever. And so some DOT officers allegedly are waking drivers up and forcing them to go on duty to do a commercial vehicle inspection. And so the CVSA apparently got enough complaints about this that they actually issued a revised procedural manual. In other words, in their process, in their procedure, they added item number 11. I'll post a picture of it on the very end of the video. So item number 11 reads something along the lines that CVSA certified inspectors are not to wake or otherwise disturb drivers that are in sleeper berth and or off-duty status for the sake of performing a random inspection. And so basically what that means is they're not supposed to do it according to the very regulations or the very what are we looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? The organization that certifies them in their procedural, I got confused. In their own procedure manual, the same manual that tells them what the criteria for inspection is saying not to wake drivers. Does that automatically give us the right to refuse them and tell them, I refuse? I don't know. I have a buddy that is a retired inspector with the state of Texas, and he is now a consultant / instructor. He puts on a class at a local college. His course has been certified by the college, which I'm proud of the guy. He's a personal friend. I sent him off a message asking him the question, and his initial response was they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to bring you out of sleeper berth status. I'm not posting a copy of that conversation because I didn't ask him for permission, and I feel it would be a violation of his privacy and our friendship, frankly. I mean, the guy charges for providing this type of information, and I asked him more off the cuff like a friend. And I think if I were to post that here, that would be wrong. I should try and convince him to come on the channel and help with some Q&A and stuff like that. It might even drive, you know, some of you guys his way for some consulting work. He's, like I say, very knowledgeable. When I have a doubt in my mind, that's kind of who I ask. Anyway, and so at the very end here, I'll post up the procedure that CVSA has for its inspectors, where it says they're not supposed to wake you up. As far as I've ever known, when you're off duty, they can't really force you to do anything. That's how I was always under the impression. And in fact, you know, we have to meet the criteria to be off duty, right? We can't be on duty logging off duty, like those of you that like fueling your truck and claiming you're off duty to make your half-hour break before they change the regulation. You know, that wasn't exactly legal. And so you're supposed to be relieved of all duties and not performing anything that will advance the readiness of the carrier. And a lot of people don't exactly follow that rule. But if you're completely off duty, and let's say you're, you know, doing your laundry or you're just asleep or whatever, they should not be able to force you to go back on duty unless your vehicle is illegally parked. If your vehicle is illegally parked, they do have the right to make you move it. Now, you could do that under personal conveyance, and that would not interrupt your 10 or 34-hour rest break. But once the vehicle's moving, they have the right to inspect you and force you on duty. So make sure you're legally parked before you start any of this type of interaction with the cop. You don't want to be too aggressive when you're answering the questions and they're trying to get you to go on duty. That's the long and short of it. You know, if you're illegally parked and they tell you to move, once your commercial motor vehicle is moving, you're operating it, even if you're off duty in personal conveyance mode. I pulled into the scale house off duty personal conveyance once, and the cop pulled me in for inspection. And I asked him as a favor. I'm like, hey bro, I'm on my 34-hour reset. I said, I got like 9 hours to go. And I was just running up the street to Walmart to get some groceries so I could hit the road, you know, tomorrow morning. And he's like, I tell you what, hand me your license, send me a copy of your logs. If your logs look clean, I'll let you ride out of here off duty. He says, if I see something we need to talk about, I'm going to put you on duty and we're going to go through everything. I think he was looking for abuses of personal conveyance, which I'm kind of working on a video for that. I've gotten some questions about personal conveyance. A lot of you are misusing it, and I know someone personally that just got a $4,500 citation, and they're telling him it's a felony. I'm trying to get more details on it, trying to make a good video on that. Personal conveyance, guys, be careful with it. Remember, it's personal use, not I'm going to my next pickup, or I'm coming home from a delivery, or I'm going to get the truck serviced, washed, polished. None of those things are off-duty items. Those are all advancing the readiness of the carrier and do not qualify as off-duty. So be careful with what you claim is off-duty. Make sure you are off-duty before, you know, you do try and lock horns with the cop when he wants to inspect you. If my buddy reaches back out to me and gives me a good definitive answer on do we have the right to say no, because I'd hate to tell you guys something that's going to get you put in jail. You know, then you're going to be replying to my comments, dude, I'm in jail because of you. Not my intention at all. Just trying to educate you on what they're supposed to be doing. The other thing to remember is not every state or municipality or government agency is a member of CVSA. They're not all members. And in some cases, it's not the state that's inspecting you. It could be a sheriff's department. It could be a municipality. They all have the right to inspect your vehicle. That's just what it is. And some do it just for a money grab. We all know that to be true. But they have the right to. It's a section of law enforcement. States usually handle that through their, like Texas is the Department of Public Safety. They have what they call a commercial vehicle enforcement unit. And then California has California Highway Patrol, and they do the enforcing through the motor carrier division. And so whatever it may be, whatever division it is, if they're a part of the CVSA, that's the criteria they should be following. If you're informed and you're educated, I kind of found that most cops tend to treat you a little bit better because you know what you're talking about, versus when you don't know anything, sometimes you do get bullied a little bit because they're wearing a badge and you're not. Again, respectful, polite, educated responses usually get better feedback, and you may get let off with a warning on something instead of a violation. I've had that a few times where I knew they had brought up a good valid point and they caught me riding dirty or slipping or whatever people want to call it, and I've been let go with a simple warning because everything else was tight and tidy on the truck. They just caught me with one thing, and since I came across as being knowledgeable and informed, I apologize, like, man, I let that slip, don't know how that happened. Sometimes they'll say, you know what, you're a good guy, I can tell you're a good carrier. A lot of times they look at your CSA score, and if it looks good and there's this one thing, as long as it's not like a serious danger, sometimes they'll give you a warning and say, you know what, I'm gonna let you off with the warning, get it back to the shop, get it fixed. Anyways, guys, that's the deal with them waking us up out of the sleeper. Personally, if someone knocks on the door, I've got cameras, I look at the monitor, and if it's a cop knocking on my door, I'm not gonna answer. I'm just gonna act like I'm not there, but you hear that from me. Anyways, as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'm home. I went to make a quick grocery run. I'm making salmon tonight, so I went to go get some maple syrup. I'm making some maple glaze tonight. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching, guys. All right, guys, so this is the operational policy for the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. And it states in item number 11 that certified inspectors shall not interrupt or disturb drivers while on sleeper berth or off-duty status if legally parked for the sake of doing a random inspection. Now, the key component here is legally parked. If you're illegally parked, that poses a problem because they can technically make you move. If you have personal conveyance enabled in your system, that's fine. But once your vehicle is moving on a public highway, they have every right to pull you over. And at that point, they can force the issue of you switching over to on-duty status. I did hear back from my buddy that is now a retired DOT inspector, and he tells me that inspectors should not be doing this. It's not part of their training. It's not part of their protocol. You can deny and tell them you're not going on duty. You are not participating. And if they don't like it, they need to call a supervisor. Odds are the supervisor doesn't know they're doing it.